move on to the main event, I've mentioned Justin Gaethje quite a lot in the last one, and Charles Oliveira. The two guys that beat Tony Ferguson will be facing off to battle it out for Charles Oliveira's undisputed lightweight title. This one's going to be a cracking fight. It really is. I mean, look, there are two avenues here. Is Justin Gaethje going to be able to get the knockout, or is Charles Oliveira going to get the submission? I know that Charles Oliveira has said, oh, I'm going to knock Justin Gaethje out. I think that's bullshit. I don't think that Charles Oliveira has any intention of trying to stand with Justin Gaethje to his detriment. I mean, obviously, if the stand-up is going well, because look, like Charles Oliveira's stand-up has vastly improved. We cannot forget that. And he will have a significant reach advantage. And he's got, and you know, his Muay Thai is looking much better as of late. But is that the path of least resistance? I feel like, look, if the stand-up is going well, then yeah, he might stand up for a bit longer. But I think ultimately it's always going to be stand until you can create a scramble, get a takedown, and find that submission. Because Charles Oliveira has the most submissions in UFC history. That is not by accident. Look, I just feel like Justin Gaethje, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Justin Gaethje can't win this. Obviously he can. This one is close on paper, it's close on the odds, and rightfully so. Because, god damn it, Justin Gaethje is good. I feel like, because as much as I can visualise Charles Oliveira creating those scrambles, getting it to the ground, finding the back and finding the choke, or getting the guillotine, you know, as much as I can visualise that, I can also just as easily visualise Justin Gaethje, you know, chopping Oliveira down with leg kicks, like ruining that movement, and then going in and just landing and listening to Trevor Whitman, because that's been a really big kind of feather in the cap of Justin Gaethje. Trevor Whitman has really helped to organise the chaos that was Justin Gaethje, and that's what you saw against Tony Ferguson, was just the kind of the organised chaos. Like, he really reined him in. Look, yeah, you can go wild, but look, you could just pick him apart, and that's where I think though, I mean, those are the two ways that I see this one going. You know, it's either going to be a masterclass by Gaethje on the feet, and you're going to see Charles get knocked out. But you know what? I think that Charles Oliveira, because the thing is like, I don't know if it was Gaethje that said it, or if it was just like a kind of like a clickbaity article. It's probably a clickbaity article. Gaethje probably never said anything of the sort. But I've been seeing a lot of stuff going back and forth of Gaethje saying, yeah, no, but well, he wouldn't dare stand with me. You know, that like he wouldn't. You know, he knows that he's got to get it to the ground. He wouldn't dare stand with me. It's like, yeah, well, by the same token, mate, you've got to make sure that it stays on the feet, because not being funny, but if it goes to the ground, you haven't got a chance. And it's mixed martial arts. You know what I mean? It's not a kind of a question of, oh, well, you know, he doesn't dare stand with me. It's like, well, go fucking kickbox then. Mixed martial arts is not for you. If you think that fighter is a lesser fighter because they refuse to play to their strengths and only want to play to your strengths, that's stupid. That's a dumb thing to do. In mixed martial arts, you play to your strengths, not to your opponents. And Charles Oliveira is not a dummy. He's not going to play into Gaethje's hands. He's going to look to get the fight to the ground. And we've seen that Gaethje can be taken down. And more importantly, it's not a question. It's not like Charles Oliveira is famous for these, like, you know, these power double legs, right? That's not what he's famous for. Like, at the end of the day, Charles is very good at just, his Muay Thai clinch has gotten far better, and from that clinch, he can create those scrambles, grab a hold of a body lock, get the fight to the ground, because, you know, Gaethje's going to be very hard to take down from a power double. It almost never happens, to be fair, like, other than, I mean, it's the chain wrestling that got him against Khabib, but, you know, Justin Gaethje has very good wrestling, in the same kind of vein that Chuck Liddell kind of set the path. Chuck Liddell used his wrestling defensively, just like Justin Gaethje does. Justin Gaethje is a very, very good wrestler, but he uses it defensively, which means that Charles may have a problem with the direct approach in getting the takedown. And that might be the only thing that really kind of, if Charles is trying to just get direct takedowns and he can't get them, that may sway in favour of Justin Gaethje at that point. However, I do think that there's going to be more that we're going to see, you know, Charles Oliveira engaging in the clinch and getting the takedowns from the clinch. And it's from that point that, you know, we're obviously Because the genius thing about Charles Oliveira and how he gets his submissions is that, you know, he will wait until his opponent is trying to get up, and he knows where his opponent is going to move, because when it goes to the ground, Charles Oliveira is moves ahead of you. He knows where you are going to go before you even know where you're going to go. And that's why he can get those submissions. That's why he has the most submissions in the UFC. And I think that it's going to be another submission on Charles Oliveira's record this week. I really do. Like I said, it's going to be close. This one, really, it's a coin toss. But for me, I have to make a pick. My pick is going to be Charles Oliveira by submission. Now, let's take a look at the betting. So, because the betting, on Charles Oliveira, I think it's like 2.38 or something like that, just to get the submission. Like, the odds aren't great on the submission there, because obviously Charles has got the most submissions in UFC history. So the bookies know that, likely, if he's going to win, he's going to get the submission. It is interesting that Gaethje is an underdog here, though. It's I didn't think. I mean, he's only a slight underdog, to be fair. But anyway, I digress. One of my main bets this week is I'm taking Charles Oliveira by submission, but I'm doubling that up with Tony Ferguson by submission, because if you do that, you're getting 35.63 to 1. That is fucking outrageous. Do you know what I mean? Because like I said, I think that 14 to 1 on the Ferguson submission, I think that's pretty outrageous, honestly. But what I really like to do is sometimes I like my bets to have a theme, because who doesn't love a theme? Am I right? So what I'm doing, I am going with the Triple Crown Submission Special. I'm going Ovince St. Preux by submission, Tony Ferguson by submission, and Charles Oliveira by submission, all on one terrible acca. That is 124.69 to 1. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling that bet. But as always, the bets are terrible. So let me know in the comments, who are you going to be betting on? I want to know, who are you betting on? Who do you fancy for these fights tonight? It's going to be a hell of an event. Not tonight, Saturday night. I do apologise. I'm going to be recapping the event once the dust is all settled. I'll be reviewing my bets, seeing which ones came off, and more than likely which ones did not. And until next time, keep those odds long and those bets terrible.